It's recap time. Today, I will be explaining a thriller crime movie called Blue Ruin from the year 2013. The movie begins with a man secretly taking a bath in someone else's home. He hears the family coming home, so he runs outside from the windows. The man's name is Dwight, who is on the run from his town. Dwight is homeless, so he stays here and there in the city. He finds an old abandoned car and decides to live in it. At night, Dwight heads into a park and looks for food in the trash. Later, he reads a book in his car and goes to sleep. In the morning, Officer Eddie wakes up Dwight and takes him to the police station. Officer Eddie knows Dwight, so she brought him in the station so Dwight doesn't do anything rash. She reveals that Wade Cleland is going to be released in a few days. Wade murdered Dwight's parents 20 years ago, so Dwight still holds a grudge. Afterward, Dwight gets to work to exact his revenge. He buys a map to his hometown, Virginia, fills up his car, and places a new battery to drive it. He heads to a gun store to buy a gun, but he's low on cash, so he buys a postcard. He writes to his sister, Sam, and sends the postcard to her. At night, he stops outside a bar and searches the parked cars for a gun. He escapes with a gun, but notices the gun trigger is locked. He tries to break the lock with a crowbar, but mistakenly breaks the gun. Dwight now continues his journey to Virginia and stops at the Virginia State Penitentiary. He's waiting for Wade's release, but notices a limousine pulling up. He notices it's the Cleland family who are here to pick up Wade. Dwight gets furious when he sees Wade reuniting with his family. Dwight now starts tailing the Clelands, who stop at a bar to celebrate Wade's release. Dwight wears his car keys and sneaks in the bar from the back. He hides in the bathroom with a knife, waiting for Wade. Dwight quickly hides in the stall when he hears Wade coming in with company. Dwight waits till Wade is alone, then he attacks him but only nicks his neck. Wade chokes him, but Dwight stabs him in the head. Dwight hears Wade's brother calling him out, so he quickly takes his knife and escapes. He sees their limo and punctures its tire but cuts his hand as well. He gets in his car and realizes his car keys fell inside the bathroom. Dwight breaks in their limo and steals it while the Clelands quickly rush outside. On the road, Dwight hears a thud and realizes someone's in the back. He stops the car and it's a young Cleland boy named William. William asks Dwight about Wade, so Dwight mentions Wade killed his parents, but William tells him Wade didn't. William runs away as Dwight abandons the limo and arrives at the nearest neighborhood. There, he breaks into a house where the family's away. He cleans himself and cuts his hair and beard. He patches his hand and watches the news to see if Wade's death has been reported, but it hasn't. Dwight heads out and rides with a truck driver to meet his sister. We meet Dwight's sister, who's a single mother of 2 girls. The girl's babysitter arrives, so Sam heads to work. She notices Dwight outside of her house, so she greets him and takes him to a diner. The siblings are reunited after years, so they catch up. Sam mentions she knew Dwight was hiding in Delaware, but didn't where exactly. She mentions she has kids now, but Dwight knows already. He tells her he saw her once years ago, but didn't approach her because he was in bad shape. Dwight mentions Wade's release and reveals he killed him. Sam is furious, but relieved because she hates the Clelands as well. She mentions they still live at their old address, and it infuriates her whenever she sees their limo drive by in the neighborhood. Dwight realizes the Clelands might attack them, so they rush back to Sam's house to check up on Sam's kids. The girls are safe, but Sam's mad at Dwight for the position she and her daughters are in now. Dwight tells her to pack her stuff and leave the house quickly. He tells her to head to Pittsburgh while he stays her and finishes the business. Sam is against the idea, but later agrees. She leaves with her daughters and leaves Dwight behind. Dwight now starts looking around the house for weapons, but he only finds a pitchfork. At night, he heads upstairs and finds his sister's elementary school photo album. Suddenly, he hears a car pulling up and heads downstairs to check. He sees it's Wade's brothers, Teddy and Carl, arriving in Dwight's car. So, he runs back upstairs and turns the light and faucet on in the bathroom. He sneaks downstairs and notices one of them coming from the back and one in the front. Dwight hides behind the hall sofa as both men break in and head upstairs. Dwight quickly heads out, but they notice him and fire arrows at him. Dwight escapes in their car, but runs into Teddy. Dwight checks on him and asks if they are after him or his sister, but Teddy's knocked out. Carl runs outside, but Dwight aims the gun at him, so he runs away. Dwight chases him, but doesn't find him, so he runs back to his car. He puts the unconscious Teddy in the back of the car, but gets hit by an arrow on his leg. Dwight quickly enters the car and drives off as Carl fails to stop him. The next morning, Dwight takes all the belongings of Teddy and puts him in the trunk. He uses a saw and cuts off the arrow stuck in his leg. Now he heads to a pharmacy and buys medical equipment to pluck out the remaining arrow. He feels too much pain, so he heads to a hospital but faints there due to loss of blood. He wakes up later and notices his leg has been fixed and patched up. He sneaks out of the hospital and returns to his car. He knocks on the trunk and Teddy wakes up screaming for help. Dwight drives off with him and stops to wear clothes from a donation box. He fills the gas in his car and drives back to his sister's home. He turns off the washroom faucet and cleans the house. He takes her school book and goes through it inside the car. Teddy keeps on screaming that his leg is broken and he's thirsty, but Dwight mentions letting him out when he has a gun. Dwight sees a picture of his friend Ben and visits his house. His mom comes to the door and reveals Ben moved out years ago. She recognizes Dwight and lets him in. Ben's mom writes down Ben's home address and work address, so Dwight hits the road again. He arrives at Ben's workplace, which is a bar. A woman tells Dwight that Ben works here as a bartender and will get off soon. Dwight now waits outside the bar at night and notices Ben leaving. He follows Ben to his car and approaches him. They both catch up, then Dwight asks for a favor, which is a gun. They both head to Ben's home, where he mentions having a picture of him and Dwight with a stripper. He then shows Dwight his guns and offers to train him because he has a long yard and no one will find out, but Dwight doesn't want him involved. Dwight asks for water and takes it for Teddy. He opens the trunk and aims at Teddy. He gives Teddy the water and asks if they were after him or his sister. Teddy mentions they were after him, so Dwight offers to surrender to the police, but the Clelands want him dead. Dwight mentions William mentioned Wade didn't shoot his parents, so Teddy reveals he didn't. Dwight thinks he's lying, so he shoots him but misses. Teddy then reveals their dad, Wade Sr., killed Dwight's dad because he was having an affair with Wade Sr.'s wife. Teddy also mentions Wade Sr. didn't want to kill Dwight's mom but mistakenly did. Dwight gives him his phone and tells him to call his family for a meetup so they can end this family dispute. Teddy calls his home, but none picks up. Dwight walks close to him to retrieve the phone, so Teddy jumps him and snatches his gun. Teddy reveals Wade Sr. died of cancer without even getting arrested. He decides to shoot Dwight, but gets shot in the face by Ben. Ben and Dwight put Teddy in the trunk and cover their tracks. Ben mentions Dwight is a terrible shooter, so he gives him a new gun and helps him practice his aim. Dwight now decides to leave, so Ben gives him some supplies. Dwight thanks Ben for helping him and tells him to destroy his picture with the stripper. Dwight hits the road, and Ben decides to follow him, but discovers Dwight sabotaged his car battery. Dwight now stops at a diner to feast, while Ben microwaves Dwight's picture. Dwight arrives at the Clelands' residence to end their dispute, but discovers no one is home. He listens to their phone messages while searching for all the guns in the house. Outside, he sees Wade Sr.'s grave and then throws all the guns in the lake. Dwight then drinks a lot of water and pees on Wade's grave. At night, he sets a trap in the house, waiting for the family to arrive. Later, we see Dwight's asleep, but he wakes up when the room light turns on automatically. He searches the house again, thinking someone broke in, but finds out that the lights are set to a timer and turn on and off automatically. He sits down and goes through their family photos. He wakes up in the morning and drags out Teddy's dead body. Dwight digs up a grave for him, but suddenly hears the phone ring. By the time he heads inside, the phone call ends. Dwight now calls their home phone and leaves a message after burying Teddy in his grave. Dwight waits inside the house now, and at night, he sees the Clelands arriving home. He quickly calls their residence and waits for the family to arrive to distract them with the message he left them. Teddy's siblings enter the house aggressively and listen to Dwight's message. Dwight mentions in the message that he wants his sister out of this mess, but Teddy's brother mentions they were trying to find her in Pittsburgh. Dwight quickly shoots him because he wants to end this fight now. Dwight kills Wade's brother and tells the sisters that he didn't want to kill their family, but they brought in his sister in this mess. On the other hand, we see William sneaking inside the house with a gun to the back room. He shoots Dwight, but he doesn't die. Teddy's sisters tell William to kill Dwight, but he hesitates. Dwight sets off William's gun, and now he's out of ammo. Dwight manages to stand up and decides to shoot all of them, but spares William. Dwight figures out that William is his dad's son with Wade Sr.'s wife. Teddy's sisters get furious and pull out the machine gun from under the sofa as they all start shooting. William throws his gun outside and abandons his family as all of them die inside the house, including Dwight. Back at Sam's house, the mailman arrives and leaves the postcard that Dwight sent to Sam, and the movie ends here. I hope you liked this movie recap. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more amazing recaps like that.